Hi guys, Overarch here, and today I'm going to be talking about the best survival game I've played this year, The Forest. So this video is going to be kind of a short review of The Forest 1.0, and I'm just going to give my thoughts on this game. So the premise of the game is that your plane has crashed on an island, your son has been kidnapped by cannibals, and now it's time to build a civilization. More or less. So it's a very building-oriented survival game meant to be played with a group of friends or other players. So it's also pretty story-heavy. However, the way it does its storytelling is pretty cool. It has very much Dark Souls-esque passive storytelling, where you encounter things like a marooned ship filled with all kinds of notes and audio tapes and stuff like that. Or you find cave paintings or a Yakuza crime base in the caves on the island, stuff like that. And it's a very cool way of telling stories, in my opinion. Next, the game is incredibly creepy. It has a lot of Lovecraftian, horror / monsters / mutants, and it's pretty cool. I really love. Those are probably my favorite type of monsters in game. The monsters are pretty terrifying. I'm not going to spoil any of them in this video, but yeah, they're very intimidating. The game is also relatively difficult, at least at first. Once you kind of get yourself established and, armored up and looking like a medieval knight, the game becomes pretty easy, in my opinion. But at least the first few days of survival are really difficult. And the game doesn't really tell you anything, which I actually prefer. It's very much a game like Don't Starve or even like Minecraft to a degree, where you're not told how to survive. You're just dropped there, and figuring out how to survive is half the fun. So like most survival games, it does have hunger, thirst, and stamina bars, which normally I'm not a fan of, as really they just, in most games, they tend to draw you away from actually playing the game and just give you chores that you have to do. This game has that to a degree, but it's really not that intrusive. Your chores really don't take very long. Next up is that inventory management is not overly intrusive either, as the limit on how much you can carry is per item. So for example, you can carry up to 10 sticks. But even once you have those 10, you can still carry up to 5 rocks, etc. So it makes inventory management a bit simpler, just because you don't really have to manage it. Just pick stuff up until you're full, and then, kind of keep track of how much you have. It also has the best tree cutting mechanics in video games. I mean, just look at that. It's awesome. Exploration in the game is also really tense, especially in the caves. You're, kind of huddled there in the cave with a lighter in one hand and a spear in the other, hoping that, something doesn't come out of the darkness and eat your face off, which it does. It does. Your face is going to get eaten. It's very much, like I said before, filled with mysteries and hidden Easter eggs all throughout it. Just finding things like that maroon ship I mentioned before. There's obviously been a lot of attention to detail put into making it very story-filled, lots of little details, lots of little Easter eggs. I really don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, if you explore the island, there's going to be a lot of stuff to find. And not only that, but the island itself is massive. And I do mean massive. I did not realize how big this game's world was until I played it. It is a huge island. This thing's like Hawaii-sized island. There's a lot of stuff to find. And I don't want to say that it's packed with stuff. There are a lot of open areas, a lot of areas with nothing in them. But if you go out on an expedition, you're going to find little hidden Easter eggs and storytelling elements and such. So I really have nothing to complain about there. The island is also extremely dangerous, and that does make it really tense. Literally everything in the island has the potential to kill you. Everything from the berries you're eating to, the cannibals that might be hiding in the trees above you. which when I first saw that was really scary. The first time I also saw each of the monsters, they really surprised the hell out of me. All of them are unique and really actually quite terrifying. The only downside is that I highly recommend you play it with friends, as the survival aspects of it seem to really encourage you to build together and work together. In fact, a lot of the survival balancing and aspects, like building walls, take quite a while if you're alone, so it seems balanced around team play. Same thing for many of the combat encounters. While most combat encounters can be handled by one person, as the days go on, the island becomes more and more dangerous. The packs of enemies become larger, and more dangerous mutants are out and about on the island. And, so towards the end game, the mid to end game, it seems like you want to have people with you. You're going to want to have a team of people in order to safely explore or to safely take on the combat encounters. The next downside is that the AI is, well, dumb. So deers, for example, will often just run right into you, and it's not uncommon for enemies to get stuck on things like walls, for example. Also, bugs, especially in the physics engine, pop up a decent amount. But I've really encountered none that ruin the experience, just minor annoyances, like my cart getting, PUBG car physics for a minute and going airborne, or once I even teleported into the air, even though it didn't kill me. So minor annoyances are pretty common. Next, let's talk about the art and sound design in the game. And I can tell you right now, there is a huge amount of attention to detail in the art of the game and in the audio of the game. Just the way that the trees rustle and wind blows through an area sounds amazing. I really cannot speak highly enough of the audio in this game. Caves are creepy and tense. You'll hear bats fluttering around and, the cannibals calling to each other in the distance. And, it just sounds and looks great. I am really impressed with how gorgeous this game is, and I'm also really impressed with how well it runs, considering how gorgeous it looks. Honestly, for my final verdict for this game, I recommend you pick it up. If you're gonna play it solo, I still think it's worth $20, but you're not gonna have as much fun. If you have people to play it with, it is well worth the $20 price tag. There are full-price games that are not as well done and engaging as this game, so I literally can't recommend it enough. As always, guys, let me know what you think of this video or of the forest in general down in the comments below. And as always, I hope to see you next time. Bye.